Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Just recording this on my laptop. It's an old laptop at that, and so the quality of the in Macintosh camera is not all that great. But I was just sitting here thinking about praying and and praying for your sports team or praying for your team to win. Do you think it's right that a Christian should pray for their team to win? Like for instance, in the cricket match that we've just seen drawn in England, the fourth test between Australia and England came to a draw, and one of the guys, at least in that team, Marnus Labuschagne, is a Christian, and I noticed before he went out to bat, he knelt down on the side of the, and he probably does this every game, but he knelt down on the side of the oval, and he obviously was praying. And I think I've heard that he does this. Anyway, so he was praying. So what was he praying? Was he praying for them to win? Was he praying that he would have a good game? I don't know. And no one won the game. So that's interesting, isn't it? From what I know about prayer, and I've studied it a fair bit, and I don't pray anywhere near as often as I should, I believe that whenever we pray, we should be praying for something that's in line with God's will. In other words, we determine what God's will is in a situation first, and we can work out what God's will is by reading the Bible and listening to wiser Christians who might guide us in what God's will in a certain situation is, and then pray accordingly. And I don't believe, from what I know, that God has any favourites in sporting matches. Maybe he does for some reasons, I wouldn't know, but I don't think so. And so why would you pray going out to play a game of cricket? Well, before I ever became a Christian, and Bob was probably talking to me, I was having a few trials and tribulations back then. It wasn't all that long before I became a Christian. In fact, it was about 8 years before I became a Christian, but one particular game towards the end of the season in football, I was playing in a game and it was a semi-final, I think, and I'd been struggling all year. I'd been having a few personal issues and I really hadn't played all that well, and I was just probably hanging on to my place in the side on reputation more than anything. And so we came to this game that we were about to play, and it was a crucial game, and we had to win to go on to the next level, or to the next semi-final, and then hopefully win the grand final, and then hopefully go up a grade the following year. And so I actually wasn't a Christian, but I had an idea that there was a God, and I didn't exactly know too much about God. I'd been brought up to learn about the God in the Bible through going to Sunday school. So I prayed to God, even though I wasn't really a practicing Christian or even a Bible-believing Christian. I was just a pretty vague sort of a Christian, if you want to call it that. And I certainly wasn't always behaving like a Christian should. Anyway, before the game started, I asked God to help me just to actually play well, just to help me cope with what life was dishing up to me at the moment, so I would feel better about myself. I thought that wasn't unreasonable to ask. I didn't really go into a lot of theological thought about that before I did it. But anyway, when I played in that game, in the first half of the game, I actually kicked 4 goals in the match and set us up by half-time to have a match-winning lead. Now, I hardly got a kick after half-time, but in that first half, when I kicked those 4 goals, I had about 3 different players came to try and quell my impact on the game. And I thought that was marvellous. And I put it down to the fact that I had prayed. I still remember it now. So I thought, well, maybe God had something to do with it. Certainly gave me the confidence to do the things that I did on that day, and everything seemed to fall into place. Snapshots going through the goals where normally they probably wouldn't. Anyway, so that was very encouraging to me. And we did go on to not win the grand final that year, I think, but we actually got into the grand final, which meant even though we didn't win it, we were able to go up a grade at the end of that year, up into A grade in the competition that we were playing in. So that was encouraging to me. Now, no one, of course, ever knew about that, I've probably told some people about this before, but not this is the first time I've sort of put this out widely. So there you go. Is there a case for praying for our teams? I think there's a case for praying, particularly for young people, whether boy or girl, who may be struggling with their personal lives, because a lot of them, they're in the spotlight all the time and they come under a lot of pressure, and sometimes they don't always do what everyone expects them to do. And then before you know it, they're in trouble, and they might even be in court or whatever. And so it's important, I think, to pray for our athletes, not necessarily pray for them to win, but pray for them to have a good game and to feel good about themselves. But more than anything else, I would like to pray that they can, if they are Christians, have a good game or a good match or a good swim or whatever, to go on to be able to influence other people by the way they live. And their performance certainly helps that, because young people, and I was no different, idolise athletes and star swimmers and footballers and cricketers and baseballers and netballers and basketballers, the whole works. And when a person like that does become a Christian, people have to ask themselves why. There were people that influenced me before I became a Christian that I had to ask myself, well, why did they do that? You know, so I don't think it's, we should be praying for a particular team to win, but we should be praying for the individuals, because I did pray for Marnus the other night in the game. He made 100 and something, and it helped save the game, even though the game got washed out. But what he actually did was exactly what I prayed. And I prayed that he would do very well and score a good score and put the team right in a good position, which is what happened. And it would restore some confidence in him, and it would enable him to have a bit more of a platform to go forward, even though you don't have to be a star in the sporting field to have a platform. So, because no one is any better than anyone else. But anyway, there you go. I just thought I'd share those rambling thoughts and see what you think. If you've got some comments underneath, please comment. And thanks for watching. Like if you like, subscribe if you wish, and I'll see you next time.